สวัสดีครับ I'm Point from ค้นพบ First of all, Happy New Year to you. I hope you have a wonderful and safe time as you celebrate during this holiday season. Today, I want to talk about the quality of our experience in everyday life, the state of our well-being. So as we navigate through life in each and every day, whether we're going to work, whether we're having a day off, relaxing with the family on the weekend, the quality of our experience determines if we're going to be happy or not, correct? The quality of our experience, in other words, whether or not we're in a good mood, a bad mood, have a positive attitude, have a negative attitude that day, or have a good day or a bad day. I think it's fair to say that this state of well-being, the quality of our experience, how we relate to reality, how we relate to the world in each and every moment, it has to do, and it is a direct result of the interplay between our thought processes, our feelings, and our emotions. So what happens is we have a thought or a series of thoughts that pop up in our mind, and then that produces a feeling and an emotion. Then that emotion gives rise to new thoughts that continue to perpetuate that emotional feeling, that emotional state of being. So the cycle goes on, and the negative feeling is made worse, or the positive feeling is made better, right? And the same principle still applies even if something bad happened to you and it's clearly the result of an external event that happened to you. Say, for example, you're at work and somebody was clumsy and spilled a cup of coffee all over your brand new shirt, and now you feel the day is ruined. It's obvious, right, that the day was ruined because of the external factor that happened. But by the same token, in order for you to feel that way, there needs to be an internal process that happens in your mind for you to feel that the day is ruined. In the moment when the coffee was spilled, right away, very quickly, you have a thought that produces a negative emotion, right? Like, how dare that person be so clumsy, etc. Oh no, why does this have to happen to me? My brand new shirt is quite expensive, etc. You have a negative emotion, and then you continue to be stuck in a cycle of thinking, feeling, emotions, thinking, feeling, emotions. So you can say that even if the coffee has been spilled 3 hours ago and you already changed your shirt, you already changed your clothing, right? But you're still feeling negative, you're still feeling a bad emotion as if the day has been ruined. So the concept is still the same. What this comes to show then is therefore that I think it's fair to say that if we can learn to become more aware of our own thinking patterns, our own thought habits, our own emotional and feeling habits and patterns, then we can therefore influence the quality of our everyday experience, influence the state of our being, right? But the trick is this: our thoughts and our feelings, they go deep. There are so many layers to it, right? In our own psyche. It's not just a straightforward concept. It's not that you say, okay, I'm going to be happy now, then you can be happy. Obviously not. That's not how we work. I'll give you this thought experiment. Have you ever noticed why sometimes it feels like it's so difficult to get your behaviors to match your intentions, to get your actions to match your thoughts? It's almost as if it's hard to get your thoughts or your mind to work together with your body. For example, let's say you have a thought and a desire and an intention to hit the gym and get that gym membership, to lose weight, to get into the fit body that you wanted. But why is it so hard to execute on that? It seems to suggest, if we really self-reflect, that in our own psyche, in our own internal processes, there's something that's contradicting there, correct? Perhaps that contradiction gives rise to a feeling of anxiety, or a feeling that, I'm just kidding myself, I'll never lose the weight, etc. So again, comes back to what I was just saying. Then with this notion, which you can prove for yourself through your own contemplation and really self-reflect, and you'll see this mechanism in yourself, then we'll see that if we can pay attention to the different thought processes and different layers, then we can influence ourselves to have our thoughts line up in each level of our psyche. And that puts us in a position to execute upon what we really desire to happen in our life. That's the concept. Now, I'll give you another example. right? Why it so seems to have so many layers of contradiction in it. So, give you this classic example, a heartbreak, right? Let's say you just got up, somebody or you just got out of a relationship and it ended quite bad. Right? On a surface level, you may be thinking that, you know what, the next relationship is going to be a better one. I deserve good. I deserve great love. I deserve great relationships. And I'm going to get the woman of my dreams. I'm going to get the man of my dreams in my next relationship. Right? That's the surface level, on your conscious level of awareness. But what's going on a deeper level? Perhaps that breakup came as a surprise or as a shock to you. And on a deeper level, it is interpreted as some sort of emotional hurt or emotional trauma which you haven't fully processed yet. So on a deeper level, you may feel to yourself that you fear that this breakup will repeat itself in my next relationship. You fear that you're going to get a guy or a girl who betrays your love or whatever reason, right? Or is not the person who you thought they were. So this comes to show that what you're truly feeling on the deepest level, it often controls our state of being and our state of well-being, and therefore the quality of our experience, right? So on a deeper level, there's perhaps in this example a mental commentary, that a mental narrative, right? The story that your mind tells itself, whether or not you realize it, right? That you know, I just got out of a heartbreak where I got, for example, cheated on, or the person was not the person who I believed they were, or they aren't the person who I thought I knew, right? And then that mental commentary plays over and over and over and over, almost like a tape recorder. And therefore, on a deeper level, you come from a place where you're not so confident in the future relationships, or you feel that, you know, that maybe you don't deserve a good relationship on a deeper level. It's interesting to see how this mechanism works in our own mind, right? So in a more extreme example, right, let's continue this example with relationships, and let's say it's an extreme case where the breakup was, you know, it shattered your worldview, so to say. It was a traumatic event, you know, they were not the person who you thought they were, and now you feel kind of lost. You feel kind of lost, you feel that you don't know how to make sense of reality or the world or other people or your relationships. And then if you're not careful, the mental commentary, because it doesn't know how to make sense of the world, it now starts to blame yourself. So your commentary starts to, on a deeper level, goes, you know what, you know, I'm not going to get love. I don't want to enter new relationships because I fear the same pain, the same hurt that happened just now. Even though on a surface level, you say that you want a new, healthy, and positive and loving relationship. So it's interesting, why is it that we have this deep level that goes on almost autopilot in ways that we may not be aware of, and yet it doesn't serve us, right? These thinking patterns do not serve us, and these mental commentaries, they are extremely heavy for the heart to accept. They are extremely heavy for the ego to accept, correct? Why is that so? I want to thank Dr. Joe Dispenza, first of all, for, I think he did I just love the way he explained this, explained the mechanics here, is because most of our thinking is learned habit. If you notice, most of our thinking patterns, they come from previous thought habits, right? To the point where they play over and over and over again until they become a new learned habit, and that becomes your belief systems. So the reason why you think thoughts that no longer serve you, but why it's hard to step out of that thinking pattern, is because you're familiar with it. It's because despite the fact that it doesn't serve your happiness, or it does not serve your goals and where you want to go in life and what you want to achieve, your mind still attaches to that thinking pattern because number one, it's a learned habit, and number two, it reaffirms your identity. This is a very important point to stress. Thanks to Dr. Joe Dispenza again for shedding light here. It reaffirms your identity, right? Think of it this way. When you wake up in the morning, what are your first thoughts that preoccupy your mind? Let's say somebody who has a self-image or self-concept that perhaps they're a failure, you know, they're not worthy enough in life, they're no good, you know, they don't deserve love. What do you think are going to be the first thoughts that begin to shape their day? It's going to be similar thoughts to that which they had yesterday. thoughts that confirm the feeling of feeling bad or feeling like a failure or feeling like they are unworthy, right? Even though this is a tough pill to swallow, to accept, but there's good news here, because I think that this shows that our thinking, most of it, because it is a learned habit, it therefore means that we can unlearn it and relearn it, relearn it into a new thinking habit, a new thinking pattern that serves our purpose better, right? So there is good news here. But here's the key, here's the next point. Because it has been a habit that has been, so to say, installed in you, right? Whether or not you did it intentionally, and most times these thinking habits, they form in ways that we're not aware of, in ways that we don't intend to, right? It means that we can outgrow them, but there will be that initial period where it feels uncomfortable to think new thoughts, to have a new vision about who you could become and what you can achieve, because it contradicts with this deeper level and deeper layer of the habitual thinking that has become a habit, right? You're using a small part of your conscious awareness to go against something that has been ingrained and has become the majority. Yet it can be done. But I think the key is, because we realize through these examples that most of our thinking habits, they come from past experiences which has manifested into an attitude and into a belief system, then therefore we can, again, learn to override that. But that requires thinking from a future clear-cut vision for who we can become, right? A vision and a clear intention about who we can become. That is a hopeful narrative, right? To de-identify and disidentify yourself from the past narrative that has been gripping you in ways that you haven't been aware of for God knows how long, right? But again, this can be done, but it requires a clear vision and a clear intention about who you want to see yourself become, both in terms of your attitude, your personality, your attitude, your state of being, and what you want to achieve in life. But this takes a strong desire and a strong intention to really embrace that vision of who you can become, because we must work towards this new vision of ourselves to the point where this new thinking patterns become a new habit that overrides the previous self-sabotaging ones that are no longer serving us. So the key is to practice self-awareness. What are you truly thinking in deeper layers of your own psyche? Because if you're not aware of that, then you're going to be stuck in the same thinking paradigms that no longer serve you. The reason I wanted to talk about this in today's video is because lately I've been self-reflecting on myself as well, self-observing and self-reflecting, and I'm seeing that, old habits that I want to work on, say waking up late or sleeping late at night, right? That's a problem I'm struggling with. I think to myself, why is it so easy to think that I want to wake up earlier and I want to sleep earlier for my health, right? But it's so hard to embody this and to really execute on this. It's because on a deeper level, my body is so conditioned and so used to those thinking patterns. And this is just one example. And I'll tell you, there are many, many examples in my own psyche that I'm trying to work on about my attitudes towards reality, towards how the world works, my belief systems, who I want to see myself become. And in a sense, I start to realize that if I cannot, first of all, have a clear vision and a clear intention that I really wholeheartedly embrace on an emotional level in order to work towards it, then I'll never get there. So I think the point of this video is to show that in order to outgrow ourselves, to become the new version that we want to become, that to outgrow the old thinking habits and thinking patterns that no longer serve us, we really have to have a clear vision and a clear intention and grit to work towards that person who we envision ourselves to become, no matter how difficult it may seem. Because this is all emotional labor, it's emotional work. The moment you begin to install or think about new, more constructive or more empowering thoughts that contradict the previous old belief systems, guess what? The ego is going to pull you back. Because again, as Dr. Joe Dispenza said, we think thoughts that don't serve us because it reaffirms our identity. We are more familiar with this old identity, and therefore our mind is attached to it. We are attached to our old identity, and we think thoughts to continue to serve that identity structure. So that's why, in a sense, they always say that if you really want to improve yourself, then in a sense, part of you has to be outgrown. And I wanted to share this self-reflection in today's video because it's a new year, and of course, we all want to continue to work on ourselves. And I hope that this video has been valuable for you to really get to see and self-reflect why it's quite hard to become the person who we want to become. But at the same time, it is possible. So all the best to you as I wish you the best in this journey. Do have patience with this self-awareness work. Really try to pay attention to what you're thinking and observe yourself as if you are a third party observing your own thoughts. Because when you do that, you disidentify yourself from your thoughts and your emotions, and you can actually learn about your own mind better. And I think that's the number one step to take if you want to outgrow our old self that's no longer serving us. And again, I want to share this in today's video because it's something that I'm going through myself, right? And even though it's quite emotionally difficult at times, but I think that it's a fun process, to learn about ourselves, to have a goal to work towards too, and to have a motivated vision to achieve that, even though we know that it's going to take work, patience, and time to get there. All right, that's it for now. Again, have a wonderful new year. All the best to you. Please share in the comments what you think about this video, and let me know what you think about how our thoughts and our emotions and our feelings and our old belief systems, our old habits, how they work and how you deal with them. Leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time. สวัสดีครับ